Good morning, biology class. Today we're going to be talking about animals and symmetry. So I had you guys talking before about all kinds of mammals and things like that. And trust me, we're going to get to mammals soon, but we have to get through this part first. Then we can get to the mammals. So let's jump right into it. This hopefully will be my thumbnail. Looks pretty cool. It says animals, and we got the subheading symmetry. Let's go. Boom. Now, what exactly is an animal? Now it understands what I want to do. Give me that. Laser pointer. Yeah. Now we're talking. Now we got it going on. Now, what exactly is an animal? So, right here, an animal is a living organism that moves from place to place in their environment, mainly for the purpose of obtaining food right here. And so, for the most part, animals are characterized by their need to get food. And they have to move around to get it. So animals are. Now, right here it says most animals are motile. Now, motile is an interesting word. Basically means that they can move their bodies from place to place. Now, you might be thinking right now, there are some animals that cannot move their bodies from place to place, but the majority of them are motile. Caterpillar especially, right here, he's a motile animal, and he definitely moves around to get his food. And so he goes from leaf to leaf, just munching down, getting everything he needs. That makes him motile. Now from here, we have to go into the diversity of all these different animals. It'd be crazy to think that the animals were all very similar to each other. That just doesn't make any sense. You look at the animal kingdom, you got tons and tons of stuff right here. Now, there are over 1 million known classified species of animal today. And so, just animals alone, there's over 1 million. And some scientists even say, you look this up, some people believe there's over 8 million possible. A lot of which end up being things like insects. If you look into it, there's a ton of insects in general. And then from there, we get some of the sizes range. Now they mostly end up being around the same size, but there are some that are a bit different. And the size range from microscopic creatures, so things as small as plankton, to much larger creatures like the 100-foot long blue whale. Yes. So there's a lot of diversity going on here when it comes to your different animal types. And that's where we get all these different classifications for them, whether they're mammals, insects, crustaceans, arachnids. All of them are different, and all of them show God's love of diversity. Let's keep on going from here. Now we're going to get into the idea that I talked about earlier, and it's that things are symmetrical, or they have symmetry. Now, what exactly is symmetry? Now, we know for a fact that many living things are symmetrical in some way. And there are 3 main types of this symmetry. We have bilateral symmetry over here. We have radial symmetry. And we have asymmetry. Now, asymmetry is the most interesting of the 3, in my opinion. But bilateral and radial symmetry are also very good. When we look at them, we start to see a lot of different things in general. Now, bilateral symmetry is shown right here by this little doggo. Humans and most animals display what we call bilateral symmetry. This means right here, organisms with bilateral symmetry can be cut in half in only one plane, and to make each half look like the other. And so if I were to take my laser pointer here, it's going to work. Of course. When I want it to work, it doesn't work. Laser pointer, please. Thank you. If I was to take... Oh, no. There we go. Now, if I were taking my laser pointer, I could actually slice down this dog, and each one of those halves would be around the same. Now, that's a very disgusting thought, to slice a dog in half, but you can see my idea from it. Word bilateral, bi comes from 2. Lateral basically meaning in this case, halves. And so bilateral symmetry. You can cut it in half at one point, in this case, this one, and then you can actually see that it's the same on both sides. Now, humans are also made with bilateral symmetry in mind. In a perfect world, we would all be completely symmetrical. However, that's just not the case. In animals, it's not exactly the case either, but we still say if they look close enough, we call them bilateral symmetry, because they're definitely not these other two types right here. Now there's also this idea of radial symmetry, and the example I have of radial symmetry is a starfish. It's a pretty cool looking guy right here. Now this is best shown with sea urchins and starfish, and it's much like a pie. If you cut these animals in half at any point, you will get two equal parts. And so you can see right here with our starfish, at any point on these blue lines, you cut that starfish, you will have two perfect halves of the starfish. This means the starfish in this example has radial symmetry. Now, in the real world, in the water, you're going to find that not every starfish is completely radial symmetrical. Oh no. But guess what? We still say it is because it is close enough. Now, you're more likely to find a perfect sea urchin that is completely symmetrical, or as some people call them, sea biscuits, depending on if they're the ones with spines or not. But my goodness, you're close enough. We call it radial symmetry. That's basically how it works here. So, man, I wish you guys were around. I could tell you the story about how I one time stepped on a sea urchin and got it all at my foot. It was nasty. Anyway, from there, we go to asymmetry, the third and final type of symmetry. Now, asymmetry, my goodness. Now, the prefix a means without. And so if something is asymmetrical, you're basically saying this object has no symmetry or is without symmetry. For example, the word atheist. The a means without. Theist means belief in God. And so an atheist is a person without the belief in God. Asymmetry means that it's a person or an object, not necessarily a person, but an object without symmetry. And so that's where those words come from. Something for you guys to learn. Therefore, these animals do not have symmetry. That's just a basic logical step there, but I just wanted to write that down so we can make sure we got that there. Now finally, this means that their form is either odd or constantly changing. What I have here as an example is a sea sponge. Now this sea sponge here, as you can see, is not very symmetrical at all. It's got weird lumps and weird holes in it and weird bumps, and it's just odd looking, in my opinion. And that's because it doesn't have symmetry. There's actually a very interesting theory. A lot of people say that we find beauty in the symmetrical things. And so something being asymmetrical, like this sea sponge here, makes it feel almost alien and foreign. The first time I saw like fire coral or weird stuff like that underwater, I thought I was on a completely different planet, you know? And you'd think that because it's just so weird. Everything like on topside is, for the most part, somewhat symmetrical. But it's so interesting to see something that is so weird. And, you know, it's still beautiful. Looks pretty cool. And this is just part of God's design. He loves having all of this diversity, all of these different types of animals and creatures and things like that. And he put them there so that we could enjoy them and see them and just be like, wow, that's amazing. Who would have thought? Now, this is the end of your video for today. It's probably going to be a bit short, but we'll just keep it that way. Hope you guys have a happy Friday, and I will see you on Monday. Thank you and goodbye.